Welcome to The Explainer. So, we're diving into a really powerful idea about survival today. What if getting totally broken isn't the end of your story? What if it's actually the beginning? We're going to look at a narrative that takes destruction and turns it into some serious strength.
So the whole thing kicks off with this mental image, right? Someone thinks they've got you. They're watching you fall apart, and man, they're probably smiling, thinking they've won. From the outside, it looks like total defeat.
But hold on, because this is where everything gets turned on its head. The question posed is, what if that person they thought they broke, what if that was just the rough draft? I mean, that one idea alone changes everything. It suggests that being broken isn't an endpoint. It's the start of a complete and total rewrite. Okay, so let's really dive into this. To get how this transformation works, we've got to first tear down the whole concept of what it even means to be broken in the first place. And here's the fundamental disconnect, right? From their point of view, breaking you is the end of the game. It's a win for them. But the reality we're exploring here, it's the complete opposite. Those cracks, those fractures, they aren't weaknesses? No way. They're the blueprints for where you're going to rebuild, and this time you're building something much, much stronger. You know, this leads to a really fascinating power shift. Just watch how the control gets ripped away from that outside force, from them, and gets pulled back in by you, the individual. It's a total game changer in terms of who's calling the shots. And this is that key moment. The reclamation. The second you declare that you're the one in charge of the collapse, you just steal all their power. They can't be the victor if you were the one who lit the match. Suddenly, you're not a victim anymore. You're an active participant in your own deconstruction. So this idea of self-breaking, it becomes this powerful, strategic move. It's not about being shattered by someone else's surprise attack, no. It's about you choosing to take yourself apart, piece by piece, to see how you are built. You get to inspect all the parts, find the weak spots, and actually learn from the damage. It's about beating them to the punch so you can rebuild on your own terms. All right, so the old self is gone. It's been dismantled. What now? Well, now the rebuilding starts. And let me tell you, the process we're about to see is not gentle. Not at all. See, the stuff you use to rebuild isn't shiny and new. You're supposed to use the garbage they threw at you. Every single betrayal, every lie, every backstab, all of it becomes fuel. You throw it all into the fire, into the forge, and use that heat to create something incredibly strong. And let's be clear, this is not a passive thing. This isn't just about healing over time. This is an active, hardcore construction project. First, you take inventory of all the broken pieces. Then you study the cracks to figure out why you broke there. You use that pain as the fire to forge something new. And then, and this is key, you build armor. You build defenses to make damn sure you can't be broken in the same way ever again. So, after all that fire, all that hammering and forging, what's the final result? What does this new version of you actually look like? What does it feel like? Well, the old self, the before picture, is described as being made of glass. Think about it. Fragile, easy to see through, and yeah, easily shattered by just a little bit of pressure. Totally vulnerable to all those petty games people play. But the new self? The new self is steel, and that's not just repaired glass. You can't glue glass back together and call it steel. It's a fundamental change of your very substance, something that can only be created under intense, overwhelming heat and pressure. And this new version of you, it isn't necessarily, lighter or happier. The description is actually darker, but also way, way stronger. It's armored. Your mind has been fortified, which means all the old ways people used to get into your head, they just don't work anymore. This isn't recovery. This is a full-on system upgrade. And here's a really critical piece of this new identity. The people who knew the before you, they just don't get it. They can't understand it. They're still trying to play by an old set of rules, pushing buttons that you ripped out and threw away. This new you is totally incomprehensible to them, and that, right there, becomes a massive advantage. Which brings us to the final and most dramatic part of this whole thing. The power dynamic doesn't just shift, it completely reverses. The entire game board has been flipped upside down. Just look at how this plays out. In the beginning, they had all the power. But then, you take it back. And in that process, they don't just lose their power, you kind of absorb it. By the time it's all said and done, the game is 100% yours. I mean, think about it. their entire playbook is now totally useless. All those little tricks and mind games they used to break glass, well, they're completely worthless against steel. Every cheap shot they take now just bounces right off, and all it does is show them how powerless they've really become. And this is where we're left, with this final chilling thought. The roles aren't just reversed, the outcome is actually mirrored. In trying to break you, they ended up creating something they could never destroy. And in doing so, they basically guaranteed their own collapse. So the final question is, what happens when the unbreakable person they created decides it's their turn to start pushing?